Hi, I'm Bree Petch with eXp Realty here in Salmon Arm, and today I'm meeting with Shanel D, the founder of Seasonal Escapes, which is a property management company specializing in Airbnb and short-term rentals. She's also a leader in the community of Airbnb, and today is going to be talking about Airbnb.org and how it is actually really helpful in our communities and what Airbnb does for the communities of which it serves and how it can help people in disaster situations. We have had fires and floods, and Airbnb has stepped up in a lot of ways to provide housing. So we are going to learn more about that today.
Awesome. I personally just love this topic. It is so impactful. So Airbnbs, they often get a negative light shone on them. A lot of people in communities don't like Airbnbs, but there's a lot of benefits that it brings to the community. Airbnb has just changed the way that people like to travel. They don't want to be stuck in hotels that are so cookie cutter and the same. They really want to be able to travel with multiple families, stay under one roof. And so Airbnb has allowed that. But it goes beyond just people who are renting their home. It has a ripple effect into our communities. When people come visit any Airbnb, they often spend anywhere from $250 and upwards of that number outside of their accommodations, just in the local community.
So it does contribute to tourism in the town. And
100%. They're going out to restaurants, boutique shops, farmers markets. And so that is really helping sustain our local businesses. And the Shuswap really is a tourism driven economy. So more than ever, we need that.
And what does Airbnb.org look like for providing housing and relief in disaster situations?
Yes, so Airbnb.org is its own organization that is part of Airbnb, but it's a separate entity. And what they are doing is providing free housing for people who have been impacted by natural disasters such as wildfire, floods. In the southern countries, it's hurricanes. And what Airbnb will do, and we went through this here in the Shuswap, is when time of disaster strikes, there is just chaos and people need a place to go. And a lot of people want to open up their homes to people who have been evacuated or impacted.
And if they do that, will they still be compensated?
So with Airbnb.org, that's exactly what they're trying to do is people want to open up their homes, but they still need to get paid because there's overhead costs with your hydro, wear and tear on your home. And I mean, ideally, nobody can just give away their home for free, but people want to help. And people who are impacted by the disaster often struggle with how are they going to, they often can't work when they're evacuated. How are they going to pay for housing? How are they going to, they don't have their personal belongings and what they call their normal, right? So placing them in a home where they can live a normal day-to-day life is so crucial.
And staying within the same community would be helpful for kids that are still going to school.
100%. And so what Airbnb.org is coming in and doing is they are offering free housing to evacuees. So if somebody is evacuated, they will be registered in Airbnb's system where they can then get a credit towards booking an Airbnb. The host who's opening their doors still gets paid, and there's no cost to the evacuees.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is such an amazing project that they're doing. They're helping with not only natural disasters, but medical stays, and it doesn't have to be a certain scale of a disaster for them to get involved. They've helped with structural fires, small communities. But the important thing is for people to be aware of this because there's a lot of paperwork that's involved. When disaster strikes, Airbnb can't just pick up the phone and say, we want to help. They need to be registered with the people, the boots on the ground, who are mitigating the disaster control. And so having those connections made so that local communities are on the vendor list, then Airbnb can come and step in and the process is seamless.
So if you have an Airbnb and you're thinking about wanting to be on that vendor list for Airbnb.org, that's something that we can help set up and facilitate. So then if a disaster does happen and you want to offer your home in relief and also get paid, compensated for that, then that's a possibility.
Anybody can go on to their Airbnb listing and
Okay.
become a supporter of Airbnb.org. There's different ways that you can donate to the cause, even if you're not opening up your doors.
Okay.
And we'll actually be hosting a webinar on emergency preparedness. That should be happening in April. So stay tuned, and we'll have more information.
We look forward to hearing more about that. And stay tuned for our third of the 5-part series on Airbnb next week, where we're going to be discussing things to consider when purchasing a home and what the costs associated with running an Airbnb look like. Thanks so much.
See you next time.